So I'm in my car again before I gotta do something. And I wanted to go over a comic I just read last night, but actually my car's a freaking mess. But at my local comic book store, they have a box of reprints from EC Comics, which is EC Comics was started by this guy called Harvey Kurtzman in like the 50s and 60s. There are all these like comic book laws that went into place censoring material in comic books at the time, which had a huge effect on the industry. So EC Comics and Harvey Kurtzman Harvey Kurtzman stopped EC Comics and he started Mad Magazine, which was a lot more successful than even EC Comics. But EC Comics had a lot of really great stuff. I'm just finding out. And so my local comic book store has reprints of a lot of it for paperback for pretty cheap, but even these reprints are now out of print because they were done, I feel like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. But there's one great series in particular called Frontline Combat, which is about war, particularly the Korean War, which was happening at the time. And then this spin-off called Two-Fisted Tales. And it had a lot of really great artists who went on to do stuff for Mad, like Wally Wood, this guy called Jack Davis, who I'm about to show you, and a bunch of other guys that I can't remember. But it's hard to show in my car, so. They also, EC Comics also, you know, Tales from the Crypt and all that stuff, which is really popular. These drawings aren't great. I don't like that, actually. What I'm about to show you is what I read last night, and it's so badass. But anyway, Frontline Combat. This is Superman Man of Steel, which I'm reading a different issue of this right now. This is also great, and I'll go over this. Will Elder, that's the guy's name. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so I got this. So I was gonna go to an art critique last night, and I realized I was there on the wrong day. So I had to, but before I went and realized that, I had to kill a bunch of time. So I went to the comic book store, which is basically my local drug dealer near my job. Okay. So I was reading this. This is done by Jack Davis. These guys are fighting in North Korea. North Koreans are fleeing the they're way up north. They're saying these guys are fleeing their town. The North Koreans civilians are fleeing their town. The soldiers are wondering why. And they're installing some sort of communication equipment, and then they realize that guerrillas are surrounding the town and they are under attack, so they basically have to hide out in a abandoned school building and basically stand their ground. Eventually they order air support and they win, and it's just sort of a short story. It's actually based on a true story, this says, but the drawings are incredible. And I love it starts at dusk and it becomes evening, and I love the blue that takes over. So you could see Jack Davis had this amazing style, sort of loose, somewhat cartoony, but also realistic, very detailed, stylized, great colors, great inks. And one thing in particular, I love how he uses similar, throughout this particular story at least, he uses a very similar blue tone, and then he, lights it up when somebody's getting shot or exploded. It has a great dramatic effect and great feel overall. This is a weak drawing. I hate how comic book artists draw people running in groups. It never looks right. It always looks like this, and it's awful. But check this out. Oh my god, you got the body exploding in the background, which is beautiful. Great use of cross hatching up for the sky. It's so rough and ugly, and it's so good. I love the windows. It's so ugly and amateurish looking, but it totally adds to the atmosphere of this lonely, desolate, sort of inhuman place, So this guy gets blown up with a grenade, is lying outside the building, and this guy decides he's gonna run out, get a truck, which he does here, to shield his body from gunfire because they're being fired at from all over the building. I love, you can see the Korean ruse it. See in China and Japan. Look at that drawing. His body drawn so perfectly. I love how this texture that, allows his head to be highlighted and has a very gritty feel. It's just so well done. I love the moon. Sort of sharp, harsh moon that's always in the background, man. I love moons. Who doesn't love moons? So he's realizing the trucks are all shot up. He finds one that's still working, hijacks that, drives it to the guy, shields his body, then bam, he gets shot up. And that is beautiful. I love that use of yellow and amongst all the blue. This guy's a master, Jack Davis. And then there's this, which is also amazing. So he gets shot up, gunfire everywhere through the car. If you look closely though, no bullet holes going through his body, so he falls out. And then, I'll be darned, I'm alive. You realize he's not dead after all. And this is great. So like I showed you in my last video how my next drawing is going to be simple squares, 3 of them lined up in a linear, fashion like this. I love it when comic book artists do this. It's when it's slowing down time, so you look at each, it's like, looking at the frames of a video in succession, when you want to do something in slow motion. These bigger boxes represent larger jumps in time, obviously, and then boom, you're slowing things down, which works for basketball because, I'm just slowing down specific scenes and movements and plays, for the most part, because that's where I realize, that's where the juice is, man. You know what I'm saying? And so this guy, so he realizes he's alive. He's just crazy lucky. Then he's like, we need air support. So he says, I'm going to cut down this telephone wire so we can hook up to a phone. Again, they slow down time, which is what I'm going to be doing for my next few drawings, actually. He gets shot at, falls 30 feet, and jumps back into the building, surviving again. But look at that. Look at the drawing. It's just gorgeous. Look at the tires. Look at the guys. They're taking their sergeant's body back into the building. Eventually they save him at the end, you know, blah, blah, blah. Very heroic. I love it. Look at that body. I love that. Seems off, you know. Who knows? But it just off in such a good way. I don't know, though. So the use of blue, but then lighting, yellow lighting here and there to have some dramatic effect. It's just very well done. They call him for air support. Their helicopters shooting the place up. Maybe they get shot at by accident, I think. I love this. 3 shades of blue. Light blue, even lighter blue, darker blue for the guy. So subtle, and then of course black. And white. But very subtle differences in blue. Great effect. Great drawing, obviously. North Koreans shooting shit at them. I love North Korea. Might be a bizarre thing to say. Obviously, I went right next to it when my visit to China. I love that these war stories are set in Korea and they're based on true stories. I mean, I can't wait to read all these. And that's really it for this one. This is a weird... I don't know who gets blown up. I can't tell for sure if their own guys get blown up. I don't know. But then it's a weird transition to normalcy. So this is a later collection of Two-Fisted Tales. So I think this is much later on. So they actually leave Korea as a theme, and they cover war stories from different time periods and Civil War, World War II stories set in Africa. These are great. They're all great. Cannot believe I found these. I don't think these are even printed anymore. And so totally good find. Anyway, I gotta go help a client. I'm waiting for him. And okay, I'm gonna see you later. Bye.